Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Colon with the Boys podcast. My name is Asen and I'm here with my co-host Nathan.
What's up?
I want to start off by thanking all the support we've gotten over the past few weeks in launching. I really appreciate all of you guys and I hope you stay with us every week. We're going to continue to improve our podcast and bring you guys as much content as possible. And we're going to have an episode available for you every Saturday, every week until the end of time.
That's a long time from now.
Yeah, dude. Like, we're going to live to be like 300 years old.
No way.
Going.
Absolutely not. I've had this conversation with my wife. Like, I'm ready to hit that time clock, dude. Like, that kind of sounds morbid, but once I hit like 75, especially if I don't have grandchildren or kids or anything, it's like your body's starting to fail. Like, I'm sure my perspective will change once I get to that age, but I'm ready to hit that time clock and get out of here.
I'm ready to hit that time clock. Jesus, dude. You're 26 years old. You're already like, yeah, that sounds about a good time to just croak.
Look, the reason I say it like that is the way the world is going now, where I have to be worried about, upsetting people because of gender pronouns. What is it going to be in the next 50 years when we're 75, dude?
You won't be able to talk.
What do you mean?
It'll all be telepathic, and there's gonna be thought crime. You're gonna think
God.
You're like, oh, this motherfucker is a bad driver, and they're gonna pull you over and be like, look, we're giving you $130. We're gonna give you an $130 ticket for your spaceship, okay?
Oh my Lord. Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. Just punch it and get out of here.
Yeah, if it's like that, for sure, I'll probably want to punch it earlier if that's how it's going to be in the future. But anyway, today we are hanging out with Pimz. He's a Twitch streamer as well as a fellow host of the trutalk podcast. We talked to him about Overwatch streaming, sponsorship, and getting naked for 24 hours.
Heck yeah.
So strap in and crack open a cold one. All right, man. Well, so you're a streamer on Twitch.
Yep.
And the other day I was watching you play Overwatch.
Oh yeah, that's my grind right now.
You said D.Va was your main.
Yeah, she's one of the heroes I consider a main. Right now it's basically D.Va and Anna on support, which is I spent we were playing Overwatch again all night last night. I was up till 2 a.m. Friday after the stream.
Jesus.
Yeah, only went till midnight. Oh, the people that were playing with me were up till 4 a.m.
Good grief.
Hell yeah.
Time zones, gotta love it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw a thing on your Twitter. I don't know if you were playing Overwatch or not, but it was a snippet from your stream where
My roommate?
your roommate or so, yeah, he came up behind you with a fucking sword and opened up a bottle, which is fucking awesome.
So
just use the damn sword.
how that happened is we were sitting there in voice, like just talking. He's like, I don't have anything to open my beer with, and someone's just like, just use a sword, it's fine. He's like, I kind of wanna. And so everybody in voice is like, you got to do it on stream if you're gonna do it. Like, you got to go in there and show us. And so we were looking yesterday, and in the clip, like the tip, it's just a practice sword, but the tip of the sword was like inches from my face when he started it. All it took was like one wrong move, and I might have been short an eye today.
Yeah, dude, it doesn't look like a practice sword to me. It looked like some William Wallace like fucking broadsword.
Yeah, it's a full. I think that one's a hand and a half.
Oh, okay.
It's
how how big is it? Because I couldn't really tell just from the video. Is it
So
like
he and I are both. He's 5'10". I'm 6 foot. It's a very big sword.
Oh, wow.
holy shit?
It's 4 or 5 feet almost. Like it's almost. It comes up to his like his collarbone, just about.
Holy crap.
Holy crap!
Yeah.
That's a big sword.
Yeah.
That was legit, dude. I was like, I gotta bring that up on the podcast because we're the cold one with the boys. Like he's opening up a bottle with a sword. That's badass.
I think that is like my top 10 best moments on stream in like, ever.
Yeah, that was legit. So yeah, you're playing Overwatch. I used to play that a lot more, but I haven't. I don't even have it downloaded right now.
He's just bad at it. That's
like,
why he stopped playing.
Yeah, I wasn't animating, but like, I just I get to this point where I'm like, I just suck at this game and I'm not improving, and I'm just like, fuck this, and I move to something else.
Full transparency. That's why I don't play by myself. I always play with people who can carry me.
Exactly.
That's a good way to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just getting back into it. We've had a squad in my community since I think it was like the second or third open beta.
Oh wow.
Wow.
I haven't played it in probably 6 to 8 months before the last couple weeks where I went, I want to play some Overwatch. I want to go hit some people with a big hammer and drive a mech around and scream at people for doing crazy stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you main D.Va, so that one's like the one to play. Like that, that's what I should be playing as a shit player. I should just go in there and play D.Va, and I'll be, I think, decent.
Yeah, all the shit players have it wrong.
Of Overwatch. It's literally what it is. Like, I don't know how much you guys watch streamers play Overwatch on Twitch, but I'm a big Tim the Tatman fan, and he goes on his charades about D.Va. He just throws his arms up. He's like, "You want to play? Too bad." Like that's literally she just takes everybody out of the game.
Yeah, she's. A lot of people are like, "Oh yeah, all the bad people play Genji, play Hanzo." No, the bad people are actually playing D.Va and outplaying everybody else. She's just the one to play.
Yeah, and they don't seem bad.
Yeah,
but like on Genji, they seem bad just because Hanzo and Genji are such a high skill cap.
Yeah,
players that like you can't just get on them and be good. You have to actually practice.
I used to have a handle on Hanzo when he was shooting tree trunks instead of arrows, but I've never got a field for Genji. He's like, I don't know, I can't do it.
I want to be good. Like every time I play Genji, I'm like, man, I want to get good at this character, and then I just die a couple of times, and I'm like, all right, I'm switching.
Okay, let's go play something I can actually play. Absolutely.
No, let's go play some soldier, some like Call of Duty character.
I feel like for Genji, like you have the most important thing for Genji is knowing when to time your reflex. I feel like that's his most underrated ability that you have to pay attention to.
It's the one that everybody's watching out for, especially when you have like these people who only play Bastion, or you'll see them deflect like a Zarya ult, and all of a sudden they're ulting into what they just reflected on you, and your whole team's just dead because the one guy got the perfect timing. Yeah,
dude. Like I don't know. D.Va is just, they should just erase that character.
D.Va's a lot of fun though.
I don't like, it's just, you're just in a mech, you never run out of bullets, you just keep shooting, and then you have that shield that like absorbs everything.
Except the shield got nerfed to hell.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, I got a nerf bat for pretty good.
Yeah. But they gave her micro rockets, said now I can just melt any tank I want. It's like, oh, boop, bye
really?
Bye monkey.
Like how do you use the micro rockets?
So
is it like,
it's just like some of the adjustments they made to her is when you're flying around, you can shoot now. So what I always do is I'll sit and shoot, and then once they get like set into their defensive spot, I'll hit shift and hit E, and I'll boost towards them with the rockets firing, because they fire straight forward. There's no lock on. They're dumb. But like by the time you get to most characters and hit them with the mech, it's a kill. I probably shouldn't be revealing my trade secrets right now, but
oh man, we're gonna tell everybody. Everyone's gonna know you're a phony. But yeah, dude. So I haven't even played, like I stopped playing around the time probably like 2 weeks after Doomfist came out. So it's been a while.
Yeah, that's I always forget he's a thing. He's so
Yeah, he didn't get very
do people
much
even play him
playtime.
anywhere?
No.
I thought he was like OP as hell. Like, what happened?
he is and he isn't. It's like Genji, where he's got he seems super powerful, but you have to know how to actually like land the hits and stuff. Because if he punches you and you get knocked back into a wall, when you hit that wall, it's an instant give for just about anybody. Like I think Roadhog and Reinhardt are two of the only heroes that fully survive that.
Yeah.
And then he builds. See, I used to know well enough what he actually does, but like by punching people, I think you build defense. Like you build an additional shield. It's weird.
I think so. Yeah.
He's got these intricacies to his character that I don't think a lot of people, at least at my level of play, have figured out. I definitely haven't. I have like 3 minutes on him because of mystery heroes.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when he first came out, I played him a couple of times, and I was like I see people wrecking people with this guy, and I'm just bad. So I didn't wreck anybody. It was a hard one to play.
I just figured out that like when you do his uppercut and then he's got the slam, I've figured out that the slam actually has a range to it, and depending on how far you go, it does more damage. I just figured that out last night, and he's been out for I think a year now or something.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's good advice for people out there if you want to play Doomfist. There you go. That's how you get to the top rank R1 player. So so other than Overwatch, like do you watch any like Overwatch League? Do you watch any of that stuff?
I don't tend to watch the league itself, mostly because there aren't any Canadian teams.
Oh
yeah, he's Canadian. That's right.
Yeah, spoiler. I'm Canadian.
We got a Canadian in the house.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys just lost to USA women's hockey team.
Yeah, in a shootout after like full overtime. That's okay. We got you last time.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just had to get onto him, man.
I'm sorry. I forgot.
Everybody's been on me. Everybody's been on me. That response is just like so practiced now. And then the men's team went and lost to Germany in the semifinals too.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, we lost out early to like Czech Republic or something.
Yeah,
right?
you guys lost in quarters to Czech, which is still pretty damn good.
Well, I heard what I heard is like the reason the Canadian and US teams aren't doing so well in the Olympics, even though they're probably the best ones out there, is because the NHL doesn't want to release NHL players to those teams, because like the NHL wants to keep going every week with their games. So they don't want to release the players. So that means like the Canadian and American hockey teams are like B teams pretty much.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a no NHL zone, and it's changed the dynamic. We don't see that US Canada powerhouse at the end of the men's league. It's the other I think it's like Germany and I forget who won the other matchup.
The final was Germany versus Russia.
Yeah.
And I don't know how that turned out. I know that was yesterday, so it's definitely out now, but I'm not sure who won. But I know like I was looking at the Olympics like medals yesterday just to see like who's gotten the most medals, and I was like, Norway is number one.
Yeah, Norway's
like,
tearing it up.
Holy shit, what?
Is that something? Are they like a new upcoming, like an underdog, or they always do good in the Winter Olympics? I don't know.
They've always been like a top 10 presence in the Winter Olympics, but I don't think they've ever done this well. The other thing is they're winning on medal count, but I think Germany has the most golds. Whoever's in second or third has the most.
Yeah, Germany has the most golds by a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, like medal count, I was like, Norway, what the hell? Like, I mean, I guess it makes sense. It's like winter 365 days a year there. So they kind of, they're used to it, and they're used to the climate. It's all easier to train in that environment, but I don't know. Have you been watching the Olympics at all?
Not much, just the basically just the two games, the last two Canadian hockey teams or hockey games. But I've been like keeping mild tabs on medal counts and who's in the lead, etc.
Are you a big hockey fan yourself? Like, do you watch NHL?
The only time that I care about hockey is the Winter Olympics. Like that's where I stand. Because my home team sucks. We haven't. I don't think we've been past the quarterfinals for the cup in like 12 years now.
Where are you from in Canada?
Edmonton. So I've got the Oilers.
Okay.
Oh yeah. They've been out of commission for a while. I think they used to be good back in the day.
Way back in the day, back when we still had Gretz.
Yeah, Wayne Gretzky. Yeah. So like I know the Montreal Canadiens. I think that's their name, right? They're like a really celebrated team in Canada, and that's where all the riots happen too when they lose.
Yeah, you get the riots in Vancouver and Montreal when they lose. It's crazy. Yeah, Montreal and I think Toronto are our two biggest teams as far as the NHL goes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So when they win, do they cover themselves in maple syrup?
I think Montreal actually does because that's where the syrup preserve is.
Nice.
Well, at least they don't eat horse shit like the Philadelphia Eagles fans did.
What
or like
the fuck?
What?
Did you not hear about that?
Excuse me?
I didn't hear about that.
I could be wrong on this. It might have been the players or it might have been some of the fans, but there was Philly fans after the Eagles won the Super Bowl that ate horse shit on video.
No way.
Because they won.
Oh my god.
It's fucking disgusting.
That's not how that works.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense at all.
It's like you won, dude. What? I mean, maybe if they made a bet or something, but why would you even make that bet when they have a good chance of winning?
Yeah, why are you betting against your own team?
That doesn't make any sense.
That was fucking disgusting. But so you've been on Twitch how long, like total?
Like account wise or streaming wise?
Streaming. Let's say streaming.
Streaming? It's been about 2.5 years. Would be October 2015 ish.
Nice. And
is when I really took it seriously.
And like, what got you into streaming? Like, what originally spurred you to be like, all right, I want to get a camera. I want to start doing this.
There was, so I watch a lot of Lol Renee, and I used to watch a lot of Gassy Mexican, kind of two of the bigger names, both on YouTube and Twitch as far as gaming stuff goes. And I just like watching their communities and seeing what they're doing. I kind of went, this looks like a lot of fun, and I think I could probably do okay at this.
Yeah.
And just kind of started playing games on the internet on Twitch, went and figured out how to do it. I've spent a lot of time doing the research on like getting your setup looking as nice as you can without using as little bitrate as you can, because we have this issue up here where like I have the top internet plan that I can get, and I only have 15 megabytes up. But I also I have 150 and 15 for like 130 or no, it's down to $100 a month now at least.
That's rough.
That is rough, man.
Yeah, we have so like I got real good at figuring that out. I used to stream 720 or 720p at 60 fps at like 1500 kilobytes per second, and it looked about the same as my stream does now at 4500. That's one of my pride points as a caster, was getting that stuff sorted.
So is it just the place where you live specifically, or is it like anywhere in Canada you can't get anything better?
It's most of the mostly the western provinces are like that. I think in Toronto you can get good stuff, and the other thing is once I move to my next place, we do have a single fiber provider that'll get me 150 up and down for about the same price. It's a little bit of my specific location and my location within Canada, because I know people in Toronto have like 500 down, 50 up, stuff like that for their like cable internet.
Yeah, I know. Like right now, I have 300 up, 300 down and 30 up. But Nathan, for example, he might switch soon to AT&T fiber in his area, and he's able to get 1 gig down and 1 gig up, which would be amazing
that's
for
the
streaming.
dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually looking into it earlier before we got on to the podcast. I was sitting down because we were talking about it, and I looked up on AT&T's thing, and they're like, "Yeah, your house is not in the recommended zone." I was like, "Well, fuck." So that's kind of out the door. Like my current provider offers 1 gig down, but it stays at like 35 up. I was like, what's the point? Like, if you can have a gig down, why can't you have like 500 up? I don't get it.
So that's not even a hardware limitation or anything. That's just like whatever people's priorities are. Because for so long, like it's been about, download, download, download. Every provider up until this new generation of fiber is just like, yeah, why do you need up when you can just, you're just using the internet to download, to watch videos, to do stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I know they don't do it in your area, but I'm sure if you found someone, like if you called Cox, which is your provider, if you called them and you were like, look, I need more up, maybe they could work something out with you, hopefully. I don't know.
No, I tried to call a while back to see if I could get because their promotion thing is called Gigablast Internet. And I had called to see when it would become available in my area, because it has to do with them rerouting. I don't know if it's coax or what they have in the ground. But they had to wait until they could put the new lines in the ground to the certain areas for it to like reroute the speeds. But I think fiber, the coax is limited to certain upload, and I think the fiber is what you have to get the upload faster. But I don't know. I'm not a comms tech, so.
Well, Cox are a bunch of cocks, so.
Yeah, they are. They can be. That's for sure.
Well,
I remember
sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I was gonna say the first time I saw like Cox as a fucking, I laughed far too hard. The first time I saw that someone's service provider was called Cox, I was like, what?
Well, like I grew
what
up
are they thinking.
I grew up in that area, and that was just the provider for everyone. So I didn't think of it that way, but then I look back now and I'm like, yeah, that's pretty funny. Fucking,
Yeah.
why would they choose that? It's probably the CEO's last name or something. We're just making fun of him, but that's whatever.
It's got to shut off my internet.
That's what everybody else.
Yeah, amid all this podcast, you just drop out. It's like, oh shit. But yeah, you've been pretty successful this far, man, on Twitch. Like, what is it like building a Twitch community? Like, what kind of strides have you taken to try and build it bigger and things like that?
I play a lot of games with people.
That definitely helps. I mean, networking out there, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So the networking thing is huge. Finding communities to tap into is also big. Like, not like going and finding like a Twitch growth community, but like going out, and a lot of casters in a certain range have they'll have a Discord, and they'll have 15 or 20 other people around the same size, and they all kind of stream under the same banner. So finding stuff like that is huge for meeting new people, building your community, and just like growing in general.
Oh yeah.
Like that's probably where my biggest strides have been made. I spent a lot of time kind of trying to figure out how to use certain social media like Instagram and Twitter. Those are kind of my two big focuses because I understand them the most.
Yeah, I mean, Instagram, like, I'm not a big Instagram person. I don't take pictures ever. So if I did Instagram, it would be like solely for social media, like just expansion. But Twitter for sure is big. I enjoy Twitter. I think it's a great place to let people know when you're streaming, to keep a community, things like that. So that's good.
Yeah. Twitter, I find is more for like the existing people now. it's there's been this weird change in how it works for a lot of streamers as it shifts from like this is how we meet people, whereas now people are like meeting each other via communities on Twitch and Discord.
Mm-hmm.
So there's been that shift where Twitter is a little more about like staying in touch with the existing people, reaching out to like specific individuals more than just like kind of that like shotgun approach of getting a bunch of people's attention that it used to be. I use it a lot more for the more pointed stuff, like just conversations with people, letting people know what's up. Like if I'm taking a day off because I'm just exhausted to the point that I can't even stream. Stuff like that goes on the Twitter, and then a lot of like I have 30 some Discords right now.
Oh wow.
And I'm active in half of those.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's I like social media. I won't say that I'm good at it. I like learning about it. That's been one of my big focuses over the last year.
Yeah, I mean, I know with podcasting and same with streaming, it's almost in your favor to almost whore yourself out to as many social media platforms as you can, just to kind of get everyone, because there's people that aren't on Twitter that are on Facebook. There's people that aren't on Facebook that are on Instagram. And there's just it's good to kind of stick your fingers into everything and just kind of I know it might be a pain, but like, you know, post your stuff everywhere so everyone can see it. I think that helps out the most. But yeah, I agree with Discord becoming a huge tool for that, for streaming specifically, because you know you get followers, you get subscribers, they come to your Discord, and from then on they're in that Discord, and any updates they need it's in there. So it's definitely useful.
Yeah, and I use it a lot for like promoting. Like in my Discord, I promote the two artists that I work with the most for channel stuff. I've got all my subs are in there, but there's also like just a public promotion channel. Like it's a very good way to kind of get people in a room and almost keep them there to an extent. Like a lot of people will join a Discord and then they'll just mute it and they'll come back, you know, once every couple weeks just to pop in, see what's going on. And they might not even say anything, but like you say, that's where like they can get the updates when they need them. All of the information's there. It's not like it's getting lost in a feed.
Right. Yeah. It's archived for you. You just jail them in there and you're like, you fucking stay in here, or I swear to God. And I'm just gonna
One of the things we haven't really got to talk with streamers much about that you pointed on not too long ago is just being exhausted. I know a lot of people look at Twitch streamers and they're like, oh, they're Twitch streamers. They have the best job in the world. All they do is play video games for a living and, you know, it's the dream or whatever. But when you sit down and actually think about it, you guys are on broadcasting a whole bunch of hours. A lot of you guys work full-time jobs otherwise. And like, that's got to be tiring.
It is, and I think a lot of people get stubborn. They're like, I gotta stream, I gotta do this, I gotta do this thing, I gotta put out this amount of content. And it's like, I stream 4 days a week,
right?
And sometimes I take a Saturday off because I want to go just play video games or go spend time with friends. And so a lot of that is a very old mentality. The ABCs of Twitch, it's always be casting,
right?
And so it's funny this comes up because I had to send one of my friends on hiatus. Like we told him like I worked with a few others, and it's like, dude, you gotta stop doing this. You need to, like, we're not letting you on any of our streams until you take a fucking break. Like you have to go recharge. You have to take care of your family. You have to get yourself sorted. And like that there's all these different angles to the exhaustion thing, and I've always been an advocate of you need to take the time,
right?
Like you said, that a lot of us are working 40 plus hours a week and then coming home, and we may only be streaming. In my case, it's about 16 to 20 hours a week, That in and of itself is another part-time job.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
then
that's
there's
60 hours.
Yeah, so that's 60 hours there already. And then there's the networking. Like, we are never offline fully unless
Mhm.
we say, I'm out. I'm gone for a bit. Like that's it turns into this like 80 to 90 hour a week lifestyle, and not everyone can keep up with that. I definitely can't. I know some people that can, and they are doing fantastic.
Mhm.
But for the most part, like, it's exhausting because it's not just playing games.
Right.
Oh
Like,
yeah. I mean, it's
I
probably really mentally exhausting just to keep up with chat, to interact with your chat, to make sure you're focusing on the game. I mean, the game itself could be mentally exhausting, whatever you're playing.
Yep.
Especially like Overwatch or PUBG, you're having to focus on that game to have any kind of skill in it. So
Yeah.
so like all of that
Oh,
put
yeah.
together, it's probably really stressful. Like after you get off, you're probably like, oh God, and you just lay back in your bed and you're just like, this is nice right here.
Yeah, when I got off Overwatch Saturday morning, I laid down, and then it was like 9 o'clock, and I was going, okay, I needed that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you're just like, you lay down and it's lights out in like 2 seconds.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah, I've checked out your stream here and there. I saw you play some PUBG, which I like to play, even though right now Nathan and I are kind of addicted to Ark, so we've been putting a lot of time into that. but we do put a lot of time into PUBG as well. Do you like how often do you stream PUBG?
PUBG tends to alternate with Overwatch. So currently it's like Fridays are Overwatch, Saturdays are supposed to be PUBG. But I'm pissed off at PUBG because
Yeah, same.
I can't. I don't know if it's something that changed in recent patches, but there are certain shots that I can't hit. And I'll watch, like, you watch the bullet trail like at 400 meters on an SKS. You watch the bullet go, and you watch it just like ghost straight through their torso. And at that point, I'm like, you know what? Screw you, game. I'm gonna go play something else.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's why PUBG, unfortunately for PUBG, I mean, it's falling on the Twitch charts. You can see
Mhm.
like less and less viewers are looking at that game, and other games similar to it, like Fortnite, are skyrocketing. As cartoony as it may be, and that's a turnoff for me. It's a turnoff for a lot of people. That's why I don't play Fortnite. But you can see why it's doing that. I mean, it has. I don't know if it has hackers because I haven't played it, but it probably has a lot less than PUBG, and
Oh yeah.
it's
So
probably a much more completed game.
Very fluid.
Very fluid without like random frame rate lag that doesn't matter what kind of computer you have, you'll get.
yeah, I think Fortnite is. I think they did it right with the BR stuff because it's a much smoother experience. There is. I haven't seen cheating in any of the games I've played, and it's so damn accessible.
Right.
Like, there's like 2 or 3 guns that you have to learn bullet trajectories on. There aren't all these like crazy. There isn't this like. One of my problems with PUBG is like learning each and every one of the guns because you never know what gun you're gonna get.
Right.
Whereas like with Fortnite, there's maybe 5, 6 guns, and they have different tiers of like quality. Right, that is huge to me. The fact that they simplified it and like streamlined the weapons to that point with while still having variety. Just it changes the way that people can get into the game uh, without adding like without dumbing it down too much.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah, I can get that. I mean, yeah, it in PUBG, you get like a VSS, and if you've never played with a VSS before, you probably think it sucks because it's just a hard one to master. Um, I mean, every gun's like that. You definitely feel the difference between an AK and a SCAR, or an AK and a M4. You just have to learn each gun, and that does take time. You can't just log on to PUBG and be good right away, or even do well. It takes a lot of learning. But yeah, I've seen Fortnite, and I didn't actually know there was only 6 guns. I wasn't aware, just because, like I said, I haven't played it, but it makes sense. I mean, I see these guys playing it, and they have pretty much the same loadout every time towards the end of the game. You know, they have guns that can switch into other guns. Is that right?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Because I feel like how many guns can you carry in Fortnite?
5. You can carry 5, you can carry 5 items. Sorry.
Right.
So you can have up to 5 guns, but typically people keep like bandages, the shield potions, stuff like that as well.
Because I see people like, they get out their machine gun, then they switch over to like a sniper, and then they also have like a rocket launcher or a grenade launcher, and I'm just like, what the hell, where are all these guns coming from? And I assumed what was happening was their gun had like some off mode that turns into a different gun, but
No.
I guess I'm wrong. This isn't Halo or Unreal, so
It's almost Unreal. It is Epic Games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's one of the other things, is like the weapon switching is a lot more dynamic. I think Fortnite is meant to be a much more dynamic game. I hate so I was at a convention last weekend with one of my sponsors, and I was playing PUBG from their booth, and people would walk by and they'd like lean over the booth into the stream and go, "Fortnite's better than PUBG." And I don't think anybody who said that was over the age of 15. But I hate that mentality, because they're both battle royales. Yeah. Okay. But they have their own aspects of being good. Like Fortnite is fantastic for accessibility. You can hop in, you can like get up to speed on it. You can play it casually and still be very good. Whereas PUBG, it's honestly, it feels like the difference between like playing Counter-Strike competitively and playing Call of Duty competitively.
Right.
Because there's like, PUBG is all about the tactics. It's about like knowing where to drop, how to use your guns, like how to like stay out of certain lines of sight that people are always watching. Whereas Fortnite, like you can hop in and it's like, oh, hey, there's a guy. I'll shoot at him. Oh, He shot me first. I'm dead. And then you go play another one.
Yeah, and I think the biggest turnoff for me for Fortnite, out of anything in the game, is the building. Like, it's cool in a sense, but at the same time, I'm like, really? Like, these guys are building like stairways to heaven, like way the hell up in the air, and like they just build a little base up there and shoot down at you from it, and then it gets destroyed. Like, it does add a new aspect to the game, a new dimension, but it also, I think, ruins it in a way. I like the more realistic feel of PUBG.
So when you see people building those stairways, if they're above like 3 or 4 up, just shoot the bottom one and break it. Because if that bottom one breaks, everything else above it collapses.
Yeah, that would suck. But it was like, what I saw was this. I was watching a stream the other day on Fortnite, and like some guy had like 7 across, and he built all the way up into the sky. So it was like a ton of wood or whatever resource you need to build in that game.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that is one thing that ticks me off, especially when you get to the final circles, is people will like, they'll just start building. They'll build these like watchtowers and just sit in them.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll be running along and it's like, oh, there's a watchtower over there. Like you probably can't even make out the dude who's sitting at the top of it, just scoping in, waiting for you to stop moving. And that part is why I don't play a lot of it. Is the end circles are kind of It's very, very campy, very. I shouldn't talk too much about how campy it is when comparing it to PUBG, though.
Right.
But at the same time, like, it's that's what you do. You have to do that. If you don't build, you're at a disadvantage. It's like it forces you to have to build those watchtowers, or you're not going to win. and that's why I don't like
Yeah,
it.
no,
Like
absolutely.
if it was more of an optional thing, like there's all this stuff here that I can hide behind, but those guys are out in the field with nothing covering them, so they have to build a watchtower. That's more fair, but um, more times than not, I see like all teams in the last circle building watchtowers, and they're just shooting at each other, and they keep rebuilding over and over until someone runs out of resources or something. So it's I don't know. I don't like that aspect at all.
I definitely prefer it when you're running through a field and someone's shooting at you, but you only know the direction and you can't see them, so you can just build the wall to keep yourself alive.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a little different from these like top or last 20 people alive,
Yeah.
just building these stupid. Yeah.
It is nice for situations, and I mean, when you if you were to add something like that into PUBG, it'd be nice to like, oh, I want to get on top of that 3-story building. Let me build a little ramp real quick. Uh, it'd be nice to do stuff like that, but at the same time, I'm glad it is how it is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're a sponsored streamer of two different companies. You're Green Man Gaming and then True Gaming, right?
Yeah, so with Green Man Gaming, I'm an affiliate, so I'm their kind of bottom tier. There's a little bit of kickback for sales kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But with True Gaming, I'm a full blown sponsored streamer. They take us to events. I can stream to their channel whenever I want.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of have free reign to just help them grow their brand, like grow their presence on Twitch and Twitter and Instagram and all that.
So is that like a community of, did they start out as a company that decided just to host a bunch of different streamers? Like you guys are all piled into one thing and you guys help each other build a community, or?
So True Gaming started out, I don't know how long ago this was, but it was actually a community in Arma, run by the CEO of the company. So True Gaming itself, the actual company, they sell servers.
They're a hosting
That's
company.
one of my perks. Yeah, they're a hosting company. But they've been kind of taking an interest in streamers and like streaming on Twitch to see what kind of win-win situations they can find there.
Right.
So it's kind of all of the options that were in the question,
Right.
which is kind of nice because there's I think 25, 26 sponsored streamers right now. There's a little over 2,000 people in the community. We've got stuff like game specific channels that you can add yourself to a role for. We've got streamer help channels, tech help channels. There's giveaways and stuff in there too. Plus, you've got. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
They've also got a full-time streamer on the True Gaming channel itself, who streams like 8 to 4, and then does some YouTube stuff.
So you also do the True Talk podcast.
Yeah.
Is that something you guys, is that part of True Gaming? Like, is that affiliated with them, or is that your own personal podcast?
Yeah, so that's a podcast that I run for them.
Okay.
Basically, August of last year, they were going, we need to get this back up and running, because they did a single episode at East Coast Gaming Conference, and then nothing happened for like 2 months. And I went, hey, I want to do a podcast. And so it's been like kind of a low risk way to try doing a podcast and see what we can make of it, just to have fun and talk about stuff. And we've had some learning, and there's another podcast spinning up off of one of our segments from there. That's basically we would spend like 2 hours out of the 1 hour podcast talking about tech, when we're supposed to be talking about like Twitch related stuff. So they're starting up another podcast for that. I think we've got 4 on like in their cluster now.
Yeah, that's one thing that we've thought about doing in the future, is possibly hosting other people that are interested in doing podcasts. Once we can build an audience big enough to, support the role of it, we'd like to take other people that would be interested in doing podcasts and, bring them on and let them do podcasts under the Actions Per Minute network, which would be really cool. it's nice to have something that's already built that allows you just to go in and be like, hey, I want to do this. And you can sit down and do your own podcast and throw it up on their network. So that's really nice for them to let you to do that.
Yeah, that's it's really cool because we're all taking different approaches to what we're doing for podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
So like within True Gaming, because their actual like marketing and media director is currently doing a bunch of stuff for like Twitch Help. Like he's having each of the sponsored streamers on to talk about like something that they are knowledgeable about.
So it's just like a bunch of streamers doing podcasts, basically.
Basically, yeah. Cool. Which works out really nicely because you have a bunch of passionate people doing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. Like, like you said, I mean, that's what we would like to do at some point in the future. But like on True Talk itself, so you guys mostly talk about Twitch and that stuff, or is it a certain game, or do you guys bring up game news, things like that?
So right now, kind of our approach to the podcast is about half an hour of Twitch news. So new features on the platform. Sometimes we give in and talk about drama if it's something that like we were keeping tabs on. And then the last half hour is like we'll talk about gaming news. Sometimes I talk about music stuff. Like the last half hour is just kind of like free form stuff. We have guests on as a way for the. So right now we have it locked out to sponsored streamers. Eventually we're going to open it up to probably just about anybody who's interested. And just like we get it's nice on that one because you get fresh opinions every podcast. You don't just have like the same two because White Shadow and I are we're very opinionated people. We think a certain way. So bringing that third perspective in is really nice and something I would recommend for anybody doing that kind of like news podcast thing.
Yeah, you have like a panel and everyone has their opinions they can put towards the topic at hand.
Yeah,
it definitely makes sense to expand it to 3 for things like that. Yeah. But that's awesome, man. I hope it does get opened up and you can kind of do more, creative stuff with it where you're open to doing what you want to do with the podcast truly instead of just focusing on Twitch. I'm not sure what you're wanting to do with it, but if that's what you're wanting to do with Twitch, then more power to you.
Yeah, and we're trying to figure that out as we go. Like the podcast has been probably 13 different things over the 13 episodes we've put out. It's very much a learning process for both of us. But we're starting to get an idea what we want to do with it. We use the term Twitch news, but it might not stay a news kind of thing forever. You have to have the adaptability with something that you want running for years at a time, right?
Mm-hmm. Right, and that's the thing. Like, is there always Twitch news? I don't think there is every single week. I don't know how often you guys podcast, but
that's part of why we do it bi-weekly. Is there the Twitch news stuff is kind of slow, and then gaming as well can be very inconsistent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Like last week we talked to Clutch and we talked to her about like Twitch TOS and the recent changes, but like it would be redundant if we talked about it right now about the same exact things over and over every podcast,
Yep. Oh yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, when TOS says like, oh well, you can't be naked on stream, I guess that's something you could put in the podcast. So that's cool. So what like of all time, like what are your favorite games to stream or just play? You don't even have to stream them. Like what kind of games do you typically move to?
Overwatch is definitely one of the ones. I love playing. It's a bit tough to stream sometimes because there's so much going on. It can be hard to keep up that Twitch interaction. I find myself going back to Bloodborne and Binding of Isaac a lot in my free time, just to like, because you can just sit down and play them. Especially with Binding of Isaac, you sit down for an hour, play one run, rage quit, and then go do something else. Like that's yeah.
Like what kind of game is Binding of Isaac? I've definitely heard of it. I know I have a few Steam friends that play it, but I'm not sure exactly what it is.
It's so it's a randomly generated dungeon crawler. That's probably the best way to describe it. Basically, like, you pick a character, you've got 7 floors to get through. They're all randomly generated. There's different items and there's different item pools depending on what floor you're on, and depending on like how things go for you on the floor. Like, if you don't take any health damage, there's a chance to get a certain bonus room where you can pay 1 heart to get an item, or sometimes it's 2 hearts. I've never really known how to explain Binding of Isaac aside from like just explaining it. There's no like one word answer for me.
It almost to me sounds like I don't know if you've played The Lost Castle.
I don't think so, but the name does sound familiar.
It's like a little like it's almost like a little arcade game. It's a lot like Castle Crashers if you've played that. It's a lot like Castle Crashers, except it's randomly generated, like you said, and you go through these dungeons and you pick up items and you try to get as far as you possibly can. I don't know if there's an end. I guess I haven't played it long enough to know if there is an end, but it seems a lot like that, except I don't know if it's 2D or 3D or like Dark Souls or something like that.
Binding of Isaac is 2D. I think these technically fall under roguelikes, which is a bit odd to me because roguelike feels a little more RPG than these do.
Yeah.
Because there's like, what is it? I can never remember the name. That ends my point right there.
So like, how did you originally get into gaming? Like, from a young age?
I started playing Putt Putt Goes to the Moon when I was like
What?
6. That is
a golf game got you into gaming?
Actually, it's a word learning game.
What?
And then there's this weird series of events that wound up to me saving up. It was like $140 in toonies to buy a PlayStation Compact.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's like, there's that weird chain. What else was there? I mean, like the PlayStation was the definitive start. Probably like I can attribute it to playing N64 at a friend's house, playing GoldenEye and
Ooh,
Oh
GoldenEye.
man, such a good game.
Yeah, well, it's terrible actually, but back in the day it was good.
Well, yeah, but yeah, back in the day, dude, you got to hold a pencil that was apparently an AK. Yeah, like
do you guys know
love
about
GoldenEye?
Sorry, do you guys know about the Steam version of GoldenEye that came out?
Steam version?
Yeah, there's a fan made remake in Valve's suite they've remade all the maps, all the guns, all the characters. It's now server based, so you can just throw up a server and play with a bunch of friends online, and it plays as well as the N64 version.
Oh wow, I'll have to check that out. Is it just like in the Steam marketplace where you subscribe to it?
Yeah, it should be. If not, you can just Google it, and it's like the first result. But,
okay.
I guarantee that if you try it out, you'll hate it.
I'm sure I will.
Yeah. Like I've seen gameplay of that game, and like, you know how you used to be able to like, you turn your gun and your crosshair stays in the middle with your gun, and it's wherever you shoot, and then you can press like that right bumper, right trigger button, and you can like aim all over the screen. I was like, God, that's so bad. It's like they were trying to do mouse movement with a controller. It was terrible.
It's so good though.
It definitely felt really good.
Yeah, I mean, like I started gaming really early, but I've liked any type of gaming. I remember even in like junior high, like in typing class, just playing like Mavis Beacon.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. Mavis Beacon teaching me how to type, dude. It was even that I was like, oh shit, I gotta type faster. Like I gotta beat this other car over here. Like that little racing game with typing, dude, that was badass. But I've always loved stuff like that. But I don't know. I definitely originally got into gaming with the NES the original Nintendo Entertainment System and the Sega Genesis. So
there was someone when I lived. So as a kid, we moved around a lot. But when I lived in Calgary, it's like 3 hours south of where I live now. I can't remember if it was a Dreamcast or a Genesis. But I basically had these two friends that both had their own consoles, and it was such a huge deal. And it was Nintendo and Sega, and none of that persists from. Actually, no, I have a Switch sitting here. The Nintendo won out. But like, it seems like a lot of people, they're either like NES and like the late Sega stuff, or it's like that first that it's the N64 on the PlayStation. As far as like all of the people that I'm associated with, like in my age group, except there's somebody who said Commodore 64 the one time, and I was like,
The heck is that?
what?
that's a really old.
That's
I think
real
it's
old.
Yeah, I think that's a really old console that I don't know anything about. So
I feel like it was Atari made the Commodore 64.
I think so. Yeah, I think that's like something they made in the late 80s or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've never played that quite that far. I like to know what my characters are doing on the screen.
Yeah.
And you just don't get that luxury with Atari games. But awesome, man. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get us over to the random thought of the day segment to kind of close out the show. So this one, we talked about nakedness earlier, so this is going to pertain to that. So have you ever thought that in your entire life, you've never been naked for 24 hours straight?
You probably were when you were a baby. Well,
I have been in the last 5 years, so.
Oh my god!
24 hours straight?
This
the hell
I
were you
was
doing?
pretty hungover. I was.
There you go.
For 24 hours? That's hard to believe.
Oh no! Oh my god! I don't think I have since I was a kid. Because I'm pretty sure I put pants on to get pizza during that. Damn.
Yeah, like
that one. Okay.
Yeah, I
That's
think
good.
like we should make that a trend, and everyone has to like try to achieve 24 hours naked.
The hashtag 24-hour challenge.
Heck yeah!
Make it-
We
make
can
it
start
sound
it. Make it
super innocent.
trending.
Hashtag 24-hour challenge for some cause that we choose.
I think the
That'd be pretty
time I
cool.
got the closest was when I was super hungover. It was after Christmas, and whenever I get super sick, like I just end up throwing myself in the shower, turning the shower on, and I just lay there and go back to sleep. For some reason, the shower is comforting
What the
enough to
fuck?
send me to sleep. Yeah, Anna hates it, my wife. Because I'll get up, I'll go into the bathroom, I'll start throwing up, and then all of a sudden she's like, I just hear the shower turn on, and you're just doing the body rolls in the shower, just puking all over the place. And it only happens once every couple years, and then I don't ever drink again. But there's always that one case where I'm like, yeah, let's go ham. But yeah, I just, like, she got up the next morning and went in there, and I was just laying butt naked on the bathroom floor, because, you know, you got in the shower, and you take your clothes off. And then I turned the shower off, and I guess I just crawled out onto the rug and just laid there and went back to sleep, butt naked in the bathroom. But
was that 24 hours?
no. I said that's probably the time I got the closest, because
okay.
I probably went into the bathroom at like 1 a.m. and then she probably finally got me up and got out of there around noon. So I got halfway there maybe, but yeah, that's what happens.
I don't think I could do it because I have a cat now, and probably like scratch
You have
my
claw
skin
marks
off.
all over
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would not be good. Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, we should definitely make that a trend. Everyone, send your videos in of you being
Oh,
naked
please,
for 24
no.
hours.
Let's not, do not send that to cola1podcast@gmail.com. I do not want to have anything to do with that.
Oh God, now we're gonna get shit.
We're going to get 24-hour naked face cams.
Oh.
Yeah, just send that to Nathan's email.
No, please don't.
All right, man. All right, Pimz. Well, I had a ton of fun, man. I wish you the best in streaming, and everyone should check out Pimz on Twitch. If people wanted to reach you for your podcast, or if they want to reach you for Twitch or on Twitter or any of those social media websites, like where can they do that?
So if you want to reach me for the podcast, would be trutalk at truegaming.com. My Twitter is at Pimz Digital. My Instagram is Matt Pimz, and my Twitch is just Pimz. Pimz.
Nice. Zed. Oh God, Canadians.
Oh, shit. Be careful. Careful.
Yeah, they
You'll
don't
be
say
extradited from the country.
Z. Oh my God, dude. I always forget about that. Like British people and Canadians say Z instead of Z. Oh. Yeah, I was about to say it's PIMZ, and then you're like, yeah, PIMZ. I was like, what?
I love the looks that I get like in person, because I'm down in the States every like 3 months just because I like to travel. But like just like, and how do you spell it? PIMZ, and then there's that moment of silence.
They're like, what?
I'm sorry, what?
So it's PIMZED? Is that what you're saying?
It's just PIMZ, guys.
Yeah, it's just PIMZ.
PIMZ.
All right. All right, guys. Well, please check out the Actions Per Minute Network at actionsperminute.net to check out our website. Email us at coldonepodcast@gmail.com if you want to contact us directly or just comment on the episode. Make sure and follow us on Twitter at coldonepodcast so you know when episodes are up. And lastly, if you like the podcast, please go to iTunes or whatever podcast app you use and like and subscribe to The Cold One with the Boys. Thanks, guys, and we will see you next week.
Laters.
Yeah.